All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, today we're going to be talking about finding and opening up windows, finding programs, accessing those programs, and then we're going to talk about managing windows in Microsoft Windows. So making them bigger, making them smaller, etc. So we'll talk about all those things, and I'm going to go ahead and get started, and just talk about, so many people keep their office supplies on their desk, right? Things like pencils or papers, erasers, calculators. A computer also has tools called programs, and computers have programs to help you do math, maybe write, maybe keep a calendar, all types of different things, right? So a program, much like an app on your phone, we all have apps on our phone. A program is essentially the same thing on a computer. So what you might call an app on your phone that you use for chatting, we might call a program in Microsoft Windows. And sometimes, it essentially can do the same thing. So there's, for instance, there's a Zoom app that you can use on your phone, or you could do Zoom on your computer, but on your computer, we would call that a application or a program. Okay. So just to start off, let me share my screen and we can talk about some different ways to find what is actually on your computer. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, go to screen 2. All right, so you guys should now see my screen. And one of the ways to find apps on your computer, so we have Windows, so this is our desktop, this area where I have all the roses at. I'm going to make this a little, let's see if I can change this really quick. It's okay. So this is my desktop here. You can see that I have various icons on my desktop. Normally, these are things that I use often. It might be a program. It might be the recycle bin. I have my passwords here. There's a bunch of different icons over here. So this is your desktop. You have icons on the desktop to make them easy to access, right? Like Zoom, for instance. If I don't want to have to go find the Zoom app, I can just put it right here on my desktop, and that makes it easy to access. It's all organized. I don't have to go look for it when it's time to use it. And you can bunch these things all together here like this. And so a couple other things to look at on the desktop when we have our computer here is we have the start menu down here. The funny thing about the start menu is that it's also the turn off menu. So much like a car, when you start a computer, if you have a laptop, you always will start with this button right here. So it's kind of a circle, and then it has this dash up through it in the middle. So that is always going to be your power button to turn your laptop on. Yeah, if you're at a larger computer, it should look similar. It should be a button like this. So I just wanted to show that to you guys. But to shut down your computer, or a Windows computer, you would go here to start. Down here in the bottom left, it looks like a window with 4 panes. You click here, and then over here on the right, you have that power button again. So to close your computer, you would have to click this and then hit shut down. If you shut your computer down, the power is completely off. It's not using any power, and the battery should last pretty long without needing to be plugged in. If you restart your computer right here, it's simply good. It's going to kind of clear it. Sometimes your computer will get caught up doing something and you just want to go ahead and clear it and give it a little bit of room to breathe. You can do a restart right here and it will restart your computer. Okay. Sleep. If you choose sleep, the PC stays on, but it uses lower power, as it says right there. Apps stay open, so when the PC wakes up, you're instantly back to where you left off. I use the sleep mode, for instance, if I'm at work or if I'm here at the house and I'm working on a project and I don't want to just leave my laptop unattended and open as I'm working on maybe a project that is sensitive. I will put my laptop to sleep, go use the restroom, maybe go to lunch. This is for like a short time away from the computer, but when you come back, you don't want to have to wait 2 and 3 minutes for it to start back up. Sleep mode is good for that because as soon as you open the laptop or you hit a button, it'll wake right back up and you're right back to work where you were. Again, if you restart, you're going to have to take a few minutes to restart your computer and then, of course, shut down. Completely closes all the apps and it turns off the PC, so you're not using any power. So again, to start a computer, you always have to hit the power button on the keyboard. But when it's time to shut it down, you don't want to just hit this button on the keyboard again. You actually want to come back over here to the start menu and you want to choose the power button here and then select the option that works best for you right here. Okay. So again, just to orient a little bit on our desktop. So we have our desktop here, which is again, if you have a desk at home, you probably have things on your desk that are easy to access: pens, pencils, a pencil sharpener, maybe a stapler, because it's just easy to access rather than having those things put away. Down here, you have a search button. So this is where we can search for programs. Down here in this little search area, you just click, and let's say I wanted to look for Microsoft Word. I can just start typing, and it comes right up, Microsoft Word app, and then you just left click it, and it pops right up, and you're in business, and you can start writing. So this is again where you can search up programs if you don't want to necessarily go look for them on the computer. You can just type in what it's called. So let's say I wanted to use a calculator. Just type in CALC. It knows that does the first couple letters of calculator. So I can just click here, open up the calculator, and do some math. Okay. Um, okay. You can also do the same thing from the start menu over here. So just to demonstrate, if I click here on the start, see it also has another search up here. So again, if I click there and I type in, let's do calendar. If I want to do something in the calendar app, it comes right up. So there's a couple different ways to find applications, also known as programs, on your computer. You can use the start menu. You can go to the search menu right here, or sometimes it's already on your desktop. And then down here, you guys see a couple of different icons. This is called the taskbar here at the bottom, also known as the quick access bar. And this is where you have programs that you use often. So right now, I only have Chrome down here. I have Zoom, which is open, and I have a couple of PDFs that are open for the lesson that we're doing today. So these are all very useful to have as you're working, because as you can see, there's a little dot under each one of these programs that just tells me that it's live and it's working right now. So this program here, you don't see that dot, which tells me that it's not active. So right now I have a folder open, I have Chrome open, Zoom, and I have Adobe open. So I have several different things going on here at the same time. Okay. All right. Let me just look at where we're at. All right. So let's say that I wanted to find Microsoft Word. How would I do that? I want to go here. I'm going to find Microsoft Word, and we know that we can click it and open it. But let's say I know that I'm going to be using this for a long time. It's a program that I'm going to use very often, and I want to know what are my other options, because maybe I want to put it down here in the taskbar so that next time I get ready to use Microsoft Word, I don't have to go over here to the search menu and find it and click it. I just want it to be down here at the bottom in the taskbar so that I can just next time just click it and open it. So the first thing to do in order to get it down here in the taskbar is to find it in your search engine. And then we want to right click. So again, I found it in the search engine. I didn't left click it, because if I left click it, it opens Microsoft Word. We don't want to do that quite. I want to go here and go to Word, but I want to use my middle finger on my mouse, and I want to right click on Word, and it gives me a couple different options. And you see these options here, you can pin to taskbar. So when I hit pin to taskbar here, it's going to move Microsoft Word. It's going to put a little icon down here. Let's do it together. Pin to taskbar, and it popped up. So now Microsoft Word is here. So next time I want to access Microsoft Word, I don't need to go search. I can just simply come down to the taskbar, click it one time, and it opens right up. Let's do that a couple more times. Let's say that we know we use calculator a lot. Let's say you work in an office and you do a lot of math, and sometimes you just need to bring up a quick calculator to run some numbers. No problem. You could always, again, search it here and pull it up just by clicking it. But again, we want to move it down to the taskbar and make it easier to access. So I'm going to right click it. I'm going to pin to the taskbar again. And there it goes. It pops right in. Let's do it a few more times. Let's say I do the same thing for Microsoft Excel. I know that I'm going to be working in Excel, doing a lot of analysis. So I bring up Excel. I'm going to right click again, pin to taskbar. And let's see. Let's say sometimes I like to play card games. So I've got Solitaire here, which is a fun little game, by the way, if you've never played it. It comes on all Microsoft computers. And let's say that I wanted to save that for quick access. No problem. I can come over here and again pull up Solitaire. But this time I'm going to right click and I'm going to pin to taskbar. So notice here now, I'm on my desktop. I can have, other things open like this, but I can still access these programs now because they're in the taskbar. I don't need to go find them anymore. So if I want to do a calculator, just click calculator, pops right up. 9 times 9, 81, right? Good to go. Any
Okay.
quest any questions on
Yes,
that? Go
yes,
ahead.
please.
Yes.
Eric, hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you.
I'm fine. So, I tried to sign some documents while at it. I tried to sign some documents online and I couldn't. Could you please take us through that? I got an email for something and I was supposed to sign online and I totally was unable. Could you please show us how to do it? I know it's out of the today's topic, maybe, but um,
Sure. Yeah, no problem. I can totally do that. Let me do it at the end of the lesson because I
sure,
am recording this lesson and I'm going to put this
sure.
up. But
Okay,
once I finish this lesson and I close off the recording, I can
okay,
definitely show you that. And we'll have a little bit of extra time today. Today's lesson's not very long.
okay,
So
okay, okay.
perfect. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to just close this out. Hmm. All right. And then we're good to go. All right. So that is your start menu down here. That is also the search function where you can find programs on your computer. We also talked about your desktop, and then we showed you how to use the taskbar here at the bottom. So let's go take a look. Again, just to explain again, they laid it all out for us. You have your start menu, your search bar, you have programs that are on your desktop sometimes, and then you have your taskbar, like we just talked about. Okay, let's see. Yeah, okay. I want to just bring this back over. Alrighty, let's just see where I'm at. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for programs. Again, once you get programs on your desktop, you also can move them around. So let's say Zoom over here. All I do is click and hold, and then I can drag this over. And when I release the hold, it drops it right there. So again, you can also organize your icons on your desktop, or I can select them all by just click and hold and make a box around them. Then I can move all these at one time. Okay, so there's a lot of options for how to organize your desktop and your programs. Okay, let's go on to the next lesson. So that was just essentially just how to find the programs and things like that. The next thing I wanted to talk about was how do you manage windows? So oftentimes when we are working, we might be working in multiple windows. So let's say we have a calculator open, we might have Microsoft Word open. Just going to bring up a couple things here. So you might have Microsoft Word open. Mhm. Okay. And we have to kind of move things around so that they're not on top of each other. And so these are all windows. A calculator here has its own window, and this is Microsoft Word. It is in its own window. First of all, to talk about moving windows, as you just saw me do, to move a window, you just need to find like a blank space up on this top area here. So it's a little bit hard sometimes, especially when there's a lot at the top, because you don't want to click these buttons, but you just want to find like a blank space right at the top, and you just click and hold. And when you click and hold, it grabs it, and now I can move this item around on the desktop. So I just grab it and I just move it and just drop it. So again, find a blank space at the top of the window, click hold, and then when you release the hold, it'll drop that item there. Same thing here with the calculator. Again, just click and hold, and you can move it around. So that's the first basic thing with Windows. It's really nice in Windows because you can multitask, which is one of the things that we all tend to like about Windows. I'm going to go ahead and open up actually a third window, and I want to open up. Let's say you wanted to create like a something with your net worth, right? So it has your debits, your assets, and then your personal net worth. So we have a couple different windows here, and we're trying to manage it all, get it all in the right place so that we can see everything. And so one of the things you can do to do that is as you are managing your windows, you can go right up here to the top. Let's say this calculator is bigger than you want it to be. You don't want it to take up this much space. You can actually shrink it. You can shrink it from right to left. So all you want to do is take that mouse. You see that mouse pointer on the screen? It looks like an arrow. That means that right now I can move this window, but I can't resize it. To resize it, there's a couple different options. We have this button here, which is minimize, as you can see. So if I press that, it just goes down and it stays down here in the taskbar. And to open it back up, I just click it. If I want to make the calculator check up the entire screen, I can actually hit the button here and it will expand it across the entire screen. Or I can just hit this button here and it'll shrink it back down. But let's say I want to customize the size of it, right? You can just bring your arrow over here to the edge, right here, and just click and hold. And as you hold, you move your mouse to the left and you see it shrinking, right? You can make it wider or you can make it skinnier. You can do the same thing from the top or the bottom. If I go to the top, notice when I get right over the edge, my mouse switches and it switches into this double arrow. Again, I can shrink it or I can go higher. You can also lastly go from the corner. So if I go here to the corner, notice my mouse changes, and when I click and hold and I move in, it goes down and skinnier, and I can go out and make it wider at the same time. So that's a really nice function. And you can do this from any corner. It doesn't have to be a particular corner. It can come from the bottom left, it can come from the top right, it can come from the bottom right. Okay. So I'm just going to move this in the corner here real quick. And then let's say we have Microsoft Excel here and we want to take up a little bit more screen. Same thing. Let's say you want to shrink it. You can just come from this bottom left corner, grab and hold, and you can make it take up that much space. I'm just going to kind of nudge it over a little bit. And then let's finally bring up Microsoft Word. And let's say we want Microsoft Word to take up the remaining parts of the screen. Again, just kind of bring it over. And then we can just shrink it, get it to a point where we feel like we can work with it. And I want to make the calculator a little bit smaller. So now we have three things happening all at once. We're working on a calendar, we're working on a calculator, and we're also working on our net worth over here. And you have three different windows open, okay? Whichever window you grab and move will always be on top of the other one. So notice that as I bring this one over the calendar, it kind of shadows it. The same thing would happen if I grab this one, because this is my active window, and I bring this one over, it becomes the active window. The active window will always take over for the windows that are not active. Okay. So I just want to make sure that that's clear also, because sometimes you're like, hey, why did it cover it up? Whichever one you're actively working in. So notice here, for instance, the calendar is taking over the calculator. If I click the calculator, it brings the calculator back to the front, which means that it's going to be the easiest thing for me to see because I made it active. So again, whatever's active will come to the front. Okay. Any questions about that? Again, to go to full screen, you would just hit this here, goes to full screen. If this is too small, you can hit Control plus to zoom in. So on my keyboard, I'm going to hit Control plus. Let's see here, and it's going to make it bigger, bigger, bigger. Okay, so it's just going to zoom in for you. All right. Who can tell me? I'm going to close this out. A little bit of Q&A here. Who can tell me how do I? Let's see. I need to find a program here real quick. Okay. So this snipping tool here is not down here on my taskbar. Can someone tell me how do I put snipping tool down here on my taskbar so I can access it easier next time? How do I put snipping tool on my taskbar? Anyone? No one wants to volunteer? Okay, I'll show you guys one more time. So if I want to put my snipping tool down here on this taskbar, I just come here to search, find snipping tool. It's already here for me. Already right there. And then again, right click. So using my middle finger, I right click and say pin to taskbar. And it just brings it right down there. Okay, so that is the easy way to access programs you're going to use quite often. Okay. All right. And I think that is essentially it. Okay. To close a window, which I think most of you guys probably know how to do. Let's say we are here on the Mission Africa website and we want to close a tab. To close a tab, we would just close this. So each one of these tabs is holding something different website. If you want to just close a tab, you can just click the X here. Now, if we want to close the entire window, this big X will close all three of these at the same time. So if I hit that, everything goes away. So that's the difference between closing a tab and closing out a window. Okay. All right. Let's do a little review. So let's see. What does this button here, out of the ones that we have here, so we have managing windows and we have some pictures. We have 4 pictures. Let's label these together. So this first one is this to minimize, close, restore down, or maximize. What does this one do? I'll write it in for you guys. So this one is to minimize. Okay, minimize. This one over here, if you see this on your screen, we see this one here, for instance, right now, which means I'm in full screen. So this one would be to restore down. which means to just shrink it down a little bit. You don't want it to be full screen anymore. Restore down. So I'm going to just type that in here. And here we have maximize, right? This is the maximize button. So if you're restored down and you have this toggle button that now is not restored down, now it's showing the full square. That would indicate that you can now go to full screen. So again, I'm going to go ahead and type that in for you guys. It's going to be maximize. And then lastly, you have this one here, the X, and this is going to be to close. To close. There we go. So these are some of the basic functions you're going to see when you're working in Windows to help you navigate around. Okay. Any questions on that before I cover filling out the form? Okay, let me go ahead
Oh,
and
we're good. Thank you.
okay, sure. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the sharing, and I'm gonna stop the recording, and then let's go into that.